I'm Amy Cherry. This local news is a service of Flagler County's Toyota dealer, Beaver Toyota, here to wow ya. Employees' illnesses are validated after a new report finds mold at the vacated Sheriff's Office Operations Center. John Arking reports.
An analysis of the latest round of testing at the evacuated Sheriff's Operations Center was released last week, confirming significant water intrusion below floor tiles, with musty odors and visible mold growth observed along with bat droppings. Kansas-based Terracon Consultants conducted the testing in early January at the facility, which was abandoned in late 2017 after repeated complaints by employees of respiratory issues. The engineering firm concluded that due to poor drainage of the building, the primary source of the complaints was due to moisture and mold growth beneath floor finishes. The bat droppings that were discovered also tested positive for fungi associated with the potential for severe pulmonary infections. The Terracon report recommends digging trenches to eliminate standing water against the building and contracting with a mold remediation company to remove black mold found behind the evidence coolers in the investigation room. Meanwhile, a March 27th hearing is set to decide worker compensation claims made by several employees who reported issues after those claims were denied by the sheriff's insurance carrier. From the WNZF Newsroom, I'm John Arking.
This portion of Flagler's Morning News brought to you by the Daytona Beach International Airport, Sunwing Airlines nonstop to Toronto, and starting in May, nonstop flights to New York City via American Airlines. There's been a lot of talk lately about the homeless camp behind the library in Palm Coast. On Free for All Friday, a couple of members of the Flagler County homeless community were on the show to tell us about their lives.
Apple sleeps outdoors.
I sleep in a tent along the Pump House Trail in Palm Coast. It's by the library.
Phyllis has a slightly different sleeping arrangement.
In my car at the church.
Neither of the women say they sleep well. Phyllis says it's because she can't stretch out in her car. Apple says it's because of the people around her. They also say it's hard to find food. Phyllis says there's no food storage when you're homeless.
A lot of times, maybe $1 chicken sandwich from McDonald's, snacks. Sometimes the gas station will let us heat up food.
Apple says something similar.
A lot of times I can't afford much more than $1 sandwich at McDonald's. $2 can buy me breakfast, a cup of coffee and a sausage biscuit.
She says that's tough when she's been a vegetarian for 30 years, but getting the protein in her stomach staves off the hunger. Think of all the stuff that you have and get to keep. Tomorrow, Apple and Phyllis will tell you what they have and get to keep, or not. From the WNZF Newsroom, I'm Deb Albertson.
Choices await voters in Flagler Beach, Bunnell, and Beverly Beach. With more, here's Tony Magoo.
It's Election Day tomorrow in Flagler County from 7 to 7. In Flagler Beach, voting will be at City Hall, which is at 105 South 2nd Street. Voters will choose 2 city commissioners out of 4 candidates. Their incumbents, Rick Bellhumer and Jane Mealy, and challengers Paul Ike and Deborah Phillips. Beverly Beach voters will also cast their votes at the Flagler Beach City Hall. They will choose 3 town commissioners from 4 candidates: Larry Matthews, Douglas O'Connor, Jeffrey Schutema, and Deborah Wingo. And residents of Bunnell will be voting at City Hall, 200 South Church Street, where 3 city commissioner seats are up for election. In one race, voters will choose 2 from the following: incumbent Bill Baxley and challengers Beulah Johnson and Donald Nobles. In the other race, voters will choose 1, Daisy Henry, Jan Rieger, or Tina Marie Schultz. Voters will also pick outcomes for 7 city charter amendments. For Flagler's Morning News, I'm Tony Magoo.
It's a seller's market. Home prices are up in Flagler County. Toby Tobin with Real Estate Matters on WNZF has everything you need to know.
The median price for January and February, in other words, year to date, is up 13.3% over a year ago, January, February. And a year ago, that increase was only 7.3%. So that's a huge difference.
The average price per square foot doubled from last year. It's up 8.7%, according to Tobin, to $136.50. Tobin adds there's been no short sales this year either.
In 2009, 2010, 2011, 55% of the real estate transactions for single-family homes in Flagler County, at least the ones that went through MLS, were distressed, which means they were either short sales or foreclosure sales.
Catch more of Tobin's expert insights on Real Estate Matters, Saturdays at 11 a.m. on WNZF. This year's Flagler County Job Fair brought dozens of companies and more than 130 people looking for work. The Those numbers are up from last year, but a far cry from totals in 2014. Back then, when the Flagler County Department of Economic Opportunity organized the first job fair, lines were out the door and around the corner. That's when the county's unemployment rate was the highest in Florida. Hammock Beach Resort has a long list of open positions to match an uptick in tourism. They were among the 58 employers represented at the job fair at Daytona State's Palm Coast campus Friday. Flagler County Commissioner Charlie Erickson said he was pleased with the turnout that shows how much the county's economy has improved. He says Flagler has gone from a beach town to a place offering $24 an hour jobs. And now you're up to date on Flagler's Morning News. I'm Amy Cherry.